I've had several people to ask me how I bought equipment to resell, things such as farm equipment, tools, and power equipment, and why I stopped doing it. So I put this video together today to give you all some examples on how I bought things to resell and how I sold them and why I quit. As we start out here, you see some power equipment that I have sitting on a trailer. Sure, this equipment is some oddball stuff, name brands it's not real popular, but for me as a collector is perfect. When I was reselling power equipment and lawn equipment, I sold a lot of power equipment such as what you see here. I acquired most of my lawn and garden equipment through dealer trade-ins. I knew a couple different people with power equipment shops that took trade-ins, and they could not sell the trade-ins that they had gotten. So what they would do is bunch up a bunch of their trade-in equipment, palletize it, and contact me and other buyers, and we would make them an offer. They would give us a set price, and if it worked out, I would go and buy a few pallets and bring them back. As you see here, this is standard pallets, how a lot of my power equipment that I got from my power equipment people would come in and be stocked up. They'd have the plastic around it. It would be everything from generators, lawnmower engines, handheld trimmers, weed eaters, blowers, and more. Lots of chainsaws, different things. And that was a really good option I had because I was able to get a lot of really good power equipment at a really good deal. Again, I couldn't be picky. I couldn't take what I wanted. I had to take everything that was on the pallet. But that was an option I had in the way I got things. Another way I acquired a lot of things for resale was by going to auctions, such as consignment auctions, farm estate auctions, and just regular auctions in general. As you see here, this is an example of some of the things I bought at auctions, such as these pallet forks on the front of a skid steer. I used to be able to buy a lot of skid steer attachments at auction and buy them and usually mark them up about 20 or 30% and make a decent profit. Things such as farm equipment, such as brush hogs, tillers, pallet forks, excavator buckets, farm chains and binders was always big, and things I could get at auction. As you see here, there's some plastic toolboxes I used to buy a lot at auction. I had a lot of people who bought them off of me. Now I've used these just to store things in. One thing I can say it's good about going to an auction is make sure you have you a good dolly. Because when you're at an auction, you got to hurry up and get things loaded up quick. But auctions are a good option to buy some things. Just because you're at an auction does not mean it's going to be cheap. Keep that in mind. There's many times I would attend auctions and drive a couple hours away and not get nothing. Some other things I would get at auctions that was popular is things such as animal traps. Fuel tanks was a big one I could buy and resell and do 20-30% resale profit on. And also another big one I would get at auctions was handheld stuff such as shovels and rakes and antiques. That stuff was real hit or miss, and there wasn't a lot of money in it, but it was enough that, to fill out a load to help cut some gas money, to make a little bit of gas money. Plastic barrels was another big seller for me that I could get at auction and resell. They were awesome pre-COVID. Power tools such as, DeWalt Power Tools in Milwaukee was a big one I could get at auction and resell. But, that market's so finicky now because you can buy a lot of really nice power tools new and have a warranty. And so, you're limited on how much you can make on power tools. But power tools was a good one you can pick up at auction. Little handheld air compressors was another one that was real hit or miss, but I could get those at auction. And big air compressors and resell. But one of my hidden treasures I got at auction was animal stuff, such as feed buckets. You see here, water buckets, lead ropes, and more. Okay, one of my other ways I acquired a lot of things was buying out estates. Now, I'm not in the business of buying out complete estates. A lot of the estates that I bought out and things I bought out was people I knew, and they would contact me if somebody had passed away, a father, uncle, grandmother, something, and they'd have outbuildings full of tools or barns full of equipment. They would contact me and say, "Hey, Matt, I need you to come look at this stuff. I want to see if you can make me an offer. I would like for you to buy out everything that we got. We need the building cleaned out because we're selling the place. The pictures you see here are just an example of what buying out an estate would be like, or buying out buildings in an estate, just to show the vast quantity of stuff that's in there and various items. Remember, if you buy that out, you got to take all of it. And sometimes you would get some dead inventory. All right, as you can see, I bought most of my things from the dealer trade-ins, and I'd also attended a lot of auctions. There was times I was going to auctions a couple times a month. I also was doing a lot of estate buyouts, and those were not advertised estate buyouts. I just got my word out with enough people that done estate sales and estate clean outs that they would get a hold of me and say, Matt, would you make us an offer to come in and buy this stuff out? And so that's kind of how I got into that. There was good and bad, all three of them, as you see later, and I'll explain. Okay, when I was in the resale business pretty heavy, I used different ways to market my items. One was I'd use Facebook Marketplace, as you see here. Next was I would use auctions to liquidate some of my items. And thirdly, I would use flea markets. So how I'd normally done it is I would do Facebook, normally weekly on sales. I would normally attend an auction every other month, a consignment auction, and consign my items in it. And certain items that I knew would sell better at some places. And then about once a month, I would go and set up at flea markets to sell. I also had a lot of repeat customers that were resellers themselves and small engine repair shops that would buy things off of me. Before I'd even post it, I'd just bunch a bunch of things up and we'd agree on a price and they would come buy it, which I was fine with. Even though they were making money off of things that I was selling, I was fine with, because I sold all of my stuff as is, cheap, mainly for parts or repair. So it worked out. And I had some great customers that were the repeat buyers. And I know they miss buying things off of me. Matter of fact, I still get messages quite a bit from them. Hey, I still wish you were getting things. I'm really needing parts. I'm needing this. I'm needing that. But that was another way I done my business model of reselling too, was repeat customers. One example is I had a local guy that had a shop. In his shop, he done repairs on old Graveleys and older home light chainsaws, and I was his main part source. All right, now profit varied. I usually tried to make 20 to 50%, give or take, on all my items, which wasn't a lot. I was not one that would try to get a lot or get rich quick. I tried to sell a consistent amount of inventory to keep money rolling in. Estate sales, I seem to make a lot more money off of than I did at buying things and reselling at auction. And the dealer trade-ins were pretty good too. All right, and why I'm no longer reselling is one, I had gotten into selling and trading and doing this kind of stuff when I got into farming back in 2014. I had to build up some inventory and build up my my farm pretty quick, and I used buying estates and auctions and different ways to help me get equipment here at the house also, plus make a little bit of profit to get other things I needed. Buying and reselling has helped me achieve that goal, and now I'm pretty well set where I have everything I need. One of the other reasons I have not sold anything since, and have been out of this game since 2021, is it's just gotten too expensive. One is the auctions are not as good as they used to be. They don't have the amount of small stuff they once had. Second is there has not really been the amount of estate stuff available to buy out. And thirdly, and last, is there just has been a softening in the market of reselling things. I think times are getting a little tougher. People's money's not going as far, and it's harder for me as a reseller to make money. Fuel prices have killed us. It's a lot more expensive to operate, to go do this stuff, and that really hurts. So that's one of the main reasons I've been out of it. There just has not been overall the inventory out there that there once was to resell. And also, even though times are not that great, auction prices are still up pretty good in some areas, and it's just overall hurt us in some ways. Another thing that's happened is a lot of the dealers that I knew that had small engine shops, they just are no longer able to take in trade-ins, and their market's softened a lot and their profits are down. So that side of the business just really isn't there, buying out trade-ins like it once was. So those are all factors that contributed to it, and that's why I stopped selling.